it feels like the Red Sox are back in a groove. Okay, they've won back-to-back series, both in the division. They really should have swept Tampa. They kind of threw that first game away. And now they get a big weekend series with the Yankees. And if you take this series, you're back in this thing. You're three games out of the wild card right now. But what's really most exciting about this right here, right now, like staying in the moment. Red Sox fans, if you want to get on the bandwagon, do it right now. Because this is the time. This is the beginning of the future for this franchise. When you look roster-wise, they've got a lot to be happy about. There's an impending Jarren Duran trade. Sure, there's Alex Bregman. Is he going to come back next year? That'll be a huge question. But right now, man, you've got all three of the kids up. You've got all three of them in the lineup most every day. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Kristian Campbell. They're all here. And for the most part, they're all performing. Like, this is a really exciting time for the Red Sox, man. We need it to, they need to string together some more wins. This is the first back-to-back series wins they've had in a month. So it needs to get better, but they're starting to look better, and these kids are starting to look like major leaguers. And there's going to be bumps in the road, right? Kristian Campbell's kind of just coming out of a huge bump in the road. That's what's going to happen. These guys were kind of rushed through the minor league system in a good way. This is where they can learn up here. And it's just enthralling to see all these kids finally up and in the lineup together every day. We're going to look back on this in a couple of years when they're winning World Series championships with this trio, and we're going to be looking back and thinking June 2025, man. That's where it all started. And, Kristian Campbell was having a bit of a bump in the road. He is coming out of it, man. He's got an OPS over 900 the last week. I think there is something to, like, these kids playing together, like they're on the same team again. Campbell, Meyer, Anthony. They weren't always on the same team in the minors, but they had a lot of overlap. They were the three coming up together, right? Them and Kyle Teel. Of course, Kyle Teel gets traded for Garrett Crochet. But these guys were always kind of together. They really seemed to bond in spring training. And now they're in the clubhouse together. Now they're in the everyday lineup together. They're figuring this out together. And the early results are still pretty good, man. Kristian Campbell, overall, still looks like a pro player. I know he struggled the last month. Marcelo Meyer, 2 home runs last night. Roman Anthony, he's only got a couple of hits, but he certainly doesn't look out of place. Let's just say that. He's the number 1 prospect in baseball. And how about Carlos Narvaez, man? Hitting cleanup, catching for you every day. What a revelation he is. He's going to be the one out of these guys that wins the Rookie of the Year as a 26, 27-year-old. That the Yankees gave up on. He's the guy of this. Maybe it's a core 4. Maybe we need to steal some Yankee terminology, some Maple Leafs terminology. Maybe it's a core 4. Maybe it's not a triplets, a trio. And maybe that Kyle Teel trade for Garrett Crochet looks even better because you have a real major leaguer with plenty of team control in Carlos Narvaez. See what I mean? Like, it's looking up here. It is looking up. And you look at them right now, like, look, if they just get to 500, we're still in not even mid-June yet. Right? If they get to 500, there's a lot of baseball left. And they're 2 games under. There's a ton of baseball, man. You get to 500 in June, like, of course you're in the mix. Most teams are, but you're still in there. With the 3 wild cards now, man, this team was supposed to be a postseason team, and they can still be that. They're going to have these kids hitting the ground running, playing every day, and you're going to get Alex Bregman back at some point. And then you're going to have plenty of options, right? Meyer can play his real position at shortstop. Story can play second. Kristian Campbell can play first because apparently he's been taking ground balls there. Or he could be sent down. I'm not one of those people who thinks, oh my gosh, he'll be ruined forever if you send him down to learn some things. I don't believe that either. But I think he probably does stay on the major league roster. Here's where I've just pumped the Red Sox tires for 5 or 6 minutes here. Here's where I'm going to get bummed. Here's where I'm going to get peeved a little bit at the Red Sox and the handling of these kids. because this weekend is crucial. Okay, they're 2 games under 500. They've got the Yankees in town. They just won back-to-back series. One of them was against the Yankees. And New York's going to throw 3 left-handed starters against them in all likelihood this weekend. How do you play these kids? You got 2 of these kids being lefties, Meyer and Anthony. Cora hates playing young kids against left-handed starters. I don't know what the obsession is. I thought this was an analytics-based team, but they clearly ignore the analytics, because if they don't play Roman Anthony all 3 games this weekend, that will show us that they are ignoring the analytics. Roman Anthony in AAA this year against left-handed pitchers, a 367 average, a 969 OPS. His OPS is about 100 points higher against lefties than it is against righties. So if they're not willing to play him against left-handers in the major leagues, then what are we doing? What are we doing here? This is what bugs me from the very beginning of this. Why are we bringing these kids up to be platoon guys if they can't play against lefties? When are they going to learn? That's what I always didn't understand. When are they going to learn to hit against lefties if you don't let them? Right? Like, to me, that's so backwards. That's so counterproductive. And again, it goes back to some of the bullshit comments that Craig Breslow mainly had in this spring. Remember what he said about Roman Anthony? Where he said, look, we're not gonna bring him up if he can't play every day. My brother in Christ, you guys are the ones that aren't letting them play every day. You're the ones that say they can't hit against lefties, and that's Meyer and Anthony. Why is that? You're the one controlling that. And then it went back to like, oh, can we find a spot in the lineup for him? Really? Or back when Tristan Casas got hurt, oh, we can't call up one of these kids and have them play first base. That will ruin them. We can't call them up and play them out of position. The 2 guys they've called up since then, Marcelo Meyer, shortstop, is playing third base, and Roman Anthony, left fielder, maybe center fielder, but probably a left fielder, playing right field. To the point where his second day in the major leagues, he's out there being taught by the coaches how to field ground balls in the outfield. So bullshit, man. You don't care about playing them out of position. And worse than that, you're not teaching them positions at the minor league level. And it's not just the Red Sox, it's all teams. But Lou had a great point. Lou Merloni was like freaking out about this on the broadcast the other night when they had Alex Cora on. And he's like, why is Roman Anthony learning ground balls in the outfield now? I know he's young, but he was playing in the minor leagues. Like, why doesn't he know this by now? Why doesn't he know that, he needs to get in front of it rather than feel it to the side? Like, that's high school shit. And he's learning it day 2 in the major leagues. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that this Red Sox front office is saying, no, we can't bring up these kids and play them out of position, and then play both of them out of position. And a drastic case in Roman Anthony. Day 1 in the major leagues of pussyfooting around it for weeks and months and saying, oh, he's not ready. Oh, we can't come and play him out of position. Oh, we don't think we can fit him in the lineup every day. And then you put him in the toughest right field in all of baseball. Like, genuinely maybe the toughest defensive outfield position to play in the entire sport is right field at Fenway Park. And they just throw him in day 1. Like, it's brutal, man. They just lied to you. We knew they were lying to us, but that confirmed they just lied to you like for weeks and months that they can't bring these kids up because of X, Y, and Z, and none of them made sense. But this weekend is going to be one hell of a test. I'm not saying we got must-win June. I'm not saying we have must-win games in the middle of June. But you got another divisional series with the Yankees. This is your 3rd straight. You've won the first 2. You have a real chance to get back in the picture here in mid-June. They're going to throw 3 lefties at you. One of them being pretty damn good in Max Fried. Are you willing to call these kids Major League Baseball players and play them against the left-handed starters? Because trust me, they're still a better option than Romy Gonzalez. Definitely a better option than David Hamilton. And, Rob Refsnyder's still a good guy to have against lefties. I'll give you that. Still. They're better than Romy. They're better than whomever else you're going to put in the outfield for Roman Anthony. Trust me, they are. So let's see. This weekend's huge. But what this right now that we're living in is the future. That picture is going to be huge. Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, the fireworks. That is the future of your ball club right there. And they're all on the major league roster, batting right beside each other in the lineup every day. This is exciting. But if you don't play them and you get your ass swept this weekend, best believe there's going to be some more calling for the manager. Because right now, the kids are doing a lot of good things. The team's doing a lot of good things. The manager's not. I don't know that the GM is. But the players out there, they're hooking us all back in, man. Because I'm kind of cautiously back in here. Let's put it that way. I'm cautiously back in. How do you feel? Do you feel this is the future of the Red Sox playing out right in front of us? Do you think they're a playoff team again? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you think the Red Sox are about to take off. We talk about them and everything Boston sports live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So check out the other videos on the channel, talking Red Sox and everything else Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week.